What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Fantasy Effect. It is episode 129. So we've been around for a minute and still coming at you with some more content. We are midway through October. The injuries are stacking up. We've seen some good football. We've seen some less than good football, but we're back in mid-season form here. I think a lot of our teams are. You're starting to get a shape of like, okay, are these real contending teams? Are these, is it next year already? Oh, are you looking forward to next year? I think I saw something that was like, if you're 3-2 and above, you basically have like a 61% chance of making the playoffs. Whereas like otherwise, you're basically you're fighting an uphill battle. So I think this is the time of the year, especially in dynasty leagues, where you can start to focus on, all right, am I putting my chips in and try to make that push for the playoffs and the championship, or am I going to kind of start to reset my roster and figure out how we're going to go for 2026 and beyond? How's it going, man?
It's going. It's a crazy day for me. Work's been outrageous this week. I hate it. Help me out, guys. Let's blow up the fantasy effect so Spanky and I don't have to work. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, the football has been good. I was able to go to the Chargers game, Chargers and Commanders, with Kev from the Debbie Royale. So that was a lot of fun. But holy moly, the Chargers could not do anything after the first couple drives. I guess I can say maybe the whole first quarter. But sheesh, that was not good.
It's funny what losing to your starting tackles do to your offense.
I mean, so the first drive looked really good. It should have been I think they scored a touchdown if I remember correctly. And then the really second drive also was okay. They field goal, no points the rest of the game. It was wild. So, but no, it was a lot of fun. And then the Commanders are a solid team. Like I thought the Chargers would be better, but of course, losing two linemen tackle, not good. So,
it's funny because Washington's pass defense is pretty terrible. So I kind of assumed that like they would be able to just kind of pass at will. But I think the offensive line, the pass blocking just really didn't do anything for them. And it really struggled there. So that was a little concerning too, just like for the Chargers, just rest of season. Like obviously I think Washington has, this week they play Miami, who doesn't exactly have like a killer pass rush, but it's something to keep in mind a little bit. It's like, okay, Herbert's going to be under duress a lot and we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was kind of the bigger thing for me as well. I was like, this is not good. They lost Hampton. So not good.
Yes. Alrighty, let's move on. We had a trade this week in the NFL. Mr. Joe Flacco he's on a quest to play for every quarterback needy team in the league. And he just went south from Cleveland down to Cincinnati. Don't check my geography, but I think that's right.
I believe so.
I think it's right. I saw a picture. I don't know if it was faked out of him on an economy flight. I hope it was fake.
I saw that too.
But he sounds like he's going to start this weekend for the Bengals. And if you're a franchise who has a terrible offensive line that can't block for anybody, what would you rather have than an absolute statue of a quarterback back there?
Right?
It's a match made in heaven. I think it'll be perfect. So, what were your thoughts on this trade? And what are your expectations for the Bengals going forward?
I mean, we're going from one hunk of junk to another hunk of junk. To be honest, I mean. He wasn't great with Cleveland. I know that offense wasn't great, but now we're going to the Bengals that don't have an offensive line either. I think maybe it will be better for Chase Brown because he dumps the ball off a lot to running backs. It could be okay for T. Higgins. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of the same, right? We're a lot of up and down with all the players there. I mean, I still feel pretty good about Jamar Chase, but I still think it's going to be a lot of up and down. It's tough when you have a pretty crappy quarterback.
Yeah, I think the one thing I will say for Flacco in comparison to like Jake Browning is I trust that Flacco can at least get the pass protection set correctly. He can get the offense in the best position they can get in. Flacco, for what it's worth, the dude can still sling it, right? Like,
Yeah,
I know he's older. He didn't really play that well, but like
he was
he still
fine.
presents more of a threat of a pass than I think Jake Browning does. So maybe defenses won't be able to stack the box quite as much.
Yeah,
That
I
said,
think what we
like,
saw was it last year when Burrow was hurt as well. Like I think the difference is like the
I think
Browning's not
2 years
good
ago.
enough to make adjustments, right? So we
Yeah.
saw Browning was pretty good right when he came in those that 2 years ago, right? Defenses didn't really know what to do, or he was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say beginner's luck, but kind of like a little bit like that, right? And then there was film on him now, and so defenses are like, okay, we just gotta stack the box, and he really can't pass very well, so boom, done. So I think that's what it is, and so I do think Flacco is better, but minimally. Like I really think it's going to be a lot of the same.
Yeah, I think a couple takeaways would probably be one. I think Chase Brown's going to get more work out of the passing game, which I think will be beneficial for him because he's just getting nothing on the
Yeah.
ground. He's getting a ton of work, but just stonewalled. The other thing is that I think Browning was really targeting, kind of locked on to Jamar Chase. Now, whether they were good targets is another question, but like I think Flacco will spread the ball around a little bit more. So like I
Yes.
think Chase will still get targets. Obviously, he's one of the best receivers in the game, but I think T. Higgins will get a little bit more work and a little more
Hopefully.
opportunities, which is needed because he's been awful this year. T. Higgins has been so bad. So I think, is there an opportunity to potentially trade for any of those guys, for Higgins or Chase Brown? Are you going to try to buy low on either of them, or are you just
Um.
because Burrow will
I,
be back right next year? So like, it's not like
yes.
if it doesn't work out this year, like it's not like they're dead
Yeah.
assets, right?
I would say, yeah, either T. Higgins more than Chase Brown, right? I would go out and acquire T. Higgins on a team that's not doing well per se.
Sure.
Maybe move, I don't know, Devontae Adams or someone like that, right? That's playing well, a little bit older, and get yourself T. Higgins. Obviously, I'm not saying that's one for one, but really, I
Oh
think it
yeah,
just
add a little something,
depends.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I think it just depends. Chase Brown, like I think we had a lot more hope than we thought, right? I know going into the season, going into draft season, people are like, "Oh, he's probably going to get, they're going to draft somebody, and then he will not be it." And then they didn't draft somebody, and we're like, "Oh, sweet, he's going to be really, really good." But even with Joe Burrow, I know that wasn't too many games. He wasn't great, right? So I think the biggest thing there is the offensive line. So your running back can't be that good when your
Yeah.
offensive line is terrible. We saw it last week with the Chargers, right? They lose their offensive lineman, and boom, the running game is just terrible. So I think that's kind of what's happening with Chase Brown, and he's not, awesome per se. He's fine. So yeah, I think the one player I would say go out and maybe try to buy low on would be T. Higgins. But Chase Brown, I think we kind of know who he is, right?
hmm I will say, so Chase Brown is like second worst in rushing yards over expectation on the season. So like, not only
He's
is
about
he is
right.
the line bad and not blocking for him, he's also just not hitting the hole right. And like, is it possible that we were a little over our skis and we kind of overhyped him because he started off so good? Maybe he kind of flashed in the pan. Now he's slowly sizzling out. Maybe
I,
he needs a
yeah,
guy like Joe Burrow, that where Chase Brown can just kind of be like serve as like the afterthought kind of. I don't want to like crap on the kid, right? Because he
yeah.
seems like a good guy, but like I'm
I
a
mean,
little worried that he's maybe not as talented as I maybe
yeah,
thought he
so I
was.
mean, his value's probably, down obviously, but not like too much. I'm seeing a couple here, Javonte Williams for Chase Brown. So for me, like if I have Javon team that maybe Javonte Williams is the only guy that's playing well, I'm like, oh, 1 in 4, whatever, right?
Sure.
Javonte Williams for Chase Brown might be good. Because I don't know how much Javonte Williams is going to continue moving on, and you can make the same argument for Chase Brown, but I think when we know, Joe Burrow comes back, I think there's still the better opportunity there, right? I saw
Yeah.
DJ Moore for Chase Brown that I don't really like. I'd much rather have DJ Moore, even though both have been mediocre, right? So I think his value is not too like it's down, right? But he's not somebody I see 2 seconds for Chase Brown.
So I would
I
buy
think
that. I would
yeah,
buy
so
Chase Brown for two
that's what I was gonna
seconds
say.
in a heartbeat.
I'd buy for that, but I'd hold if that's the only offer I'm getting, right? So I think for me, the like I said, the one guy I would want to go out and try to get would be T Higgins, because I think for him he's just really hurting with the lack of Joe Burrow.
So one thing I will say is that like Chase Brown's under contract next year, and then he's a free agent in 2027. So like I think he's a great like bounce back candidate for next year if this year just kind of continues to go the way it is. I don't know if his value is going to go down any lower than it already
Yeah,
has. You know what I mean? And so like I feel like if anything, it'll start to go back up in the summer when people can start building the narrative of, oh, Joe Burrow's back, and maybe the Bengals draft an O lineman, and you can start building that narrative back of like, oh, it'll be better, right? Like I feel like if you believe in Chase Brown, like would you send? It's hard if you're like a contender, right? Like to send a late first for a guy that you probably don't feel good starting about
Ooh,
right now, but like for
yeah,
next
I don't think
year,
I could do that.
yeah,
And I think that would be smashed like in a heartbeat, right? Anybody
I
would
think it
take
would
that, I think,
too.
especially I was just looking at some trades, right? So I, I don't know. So I ended up making a trade, right? And only reason I bring it up with Chase Brown is I try to move Chase Brown. I think it was Chase Brown and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know I had Chase Brown in it, and I was like, okay, cool. He's like my third or fourth running back. Let me see if I can get. Oh, I think it was Chase Brown and a first for Trevor Lawrence and ETN, and the guy countered
Mm.
with 26-1 and Loveland. I was like, okay, cool. I'll take that. No problem. Um, so, I think his value is down. But like exactly what you're saying is I think he's a good bounce back candidate if they do pick up, a couple linemen, one or two linemen, and then Joe Burrow's back.
Do you think it's hard because I was just kind of looking at like guys who's kind of around, like Derrick Henry's a guy that's kind of right around him. I was going to say like, oh, maybe you could try to flip for a contender, like maybe if you're not, but like Derrick Henry's playing like shit too. So like
He
that's
is.
probably not that's probably not really getting done either. He's in an interesting range. Maybe like could you do like David Montgomery, because he's been playing well. Could you
For Chase
send
Brown,
Monty just straight up? Yeah. Do you think that would get done? Like if you're
I
to acquire Chase Brown?
I think so. They're both going kind of opposite directions, right? Monty's playing
Sure.
pretty darn well. I know a
Scored
lot
two
of people.
touchdowns last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people worry a little bit with like, okay, he's always going to be second fiddle. But really, Chase Brown, if we look up, his what he's ranked right now is like, or what he like scoring, he's probably down, RB3, RB4 range even, right? So
Bad.
I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, I'll certainly send my Chase Brown for Montgomery. I think you might have to add to Chase Brown to get to Montgomery at this point.
I think you might too, which is that's what I'm wondering. Like if you could just send like straight up, or maybe even what about like a Cam Scatabo? I don't necessarily know if he's a long term solution there too. I know he's kind of a hot name. He's been playing pretty well, but Tyron Tracy's
Yeah.
coming back too. So I'm just
I mean, I personally would like that as well. Like, if it's one for one, or even if I have to add a third to, Scatabo,
sure.
coming in, I was, not too high on him anyway. He has played really well. And now Tracy's back. So I think this week before Tracy plays would be the time to do that kind of move. And I kind of like, in my opinion, that's a nice like pivot in my opinion, because I don't know how much Scatabo is going to continue playing at this rate, especially now Tracy coming back. They're probably, kind of like what we talked about in the beginning of the season. I think it's going to give the ball to the hot hand, right? Whichever,
Yeah.
whoever's playing well on that drive is going to stay in and whatever.
Who, if you had to guess who scored more fantasy points this year, Rashad White or Chase Brown, who would you say?
I would say Rashad White because you're asking, but
Yeah,
that's
he
rough.
has. He
Yeah.
has. God, that's horrible. Yeah. Anyways, I think there's an opportunity there. I think Chase Brown's. I think he's going to be a prime bounce back candidate next year.
Yeah.
If you want to try to get ahead of it, see how low you can maybe buy if you're on a. I'd say if your team's like 2-3 or worse right now, right? Like maybe
Interesting.
see if you can
So
acquire him.
His value is kind of all over the place. I'm looking on Fantasy Calc. I see Chase Brown for
Okay.
a first. I see Chase Brown, Bryce Young, and a third for Caleb. I see DJ Moore, Chase Brown, and a 26 first for Brian Thomas Jr., Dylan Sampson, and Jaden Higgins.
Ah,
So, I can make an argument that his value is down on that trade, and then he's also being traded for a first. So,
yeah,
I think it just kind of
it'll depend
depends
on
on
the
what
league.
people, yeah, league and what
Mhm.
people are think of him. But like, I don't think it's going to get much better throughout the season. I think maybe we'll have a little bit better now that Flacco's there because he dumps the ball
I
off a little bit more. But I think, you know, he's not somebody you want, in my opinion, to go and send your first on a possible contender. I don't think he's going to make your lineup.
No, he's because I have him in a couple of leagues where I've had to bench him the last week or
Yeah.
so. And it's like it feels wrong, but like he's just been playing like poop. Um,
Yeah.
he's getting a ton of volume though. Like uh, only let's see, I just had it up here. Only Tony Pollard and Quinshon Judkins have been getting more of like their team's like rushing backfield attempts
And talk
than
about,
Chase
yeah, I
Brown.
mean, same argument with Tony Pollard is like they both are getting volume, but they're both just
It's
not
ugly, dude. It's
not good. Yeah, they're like,
yeah.
doesn't matter how
The
much volume they get. They're not getting points. They're not getting yards.
The only saving grace with those two is that, like, if you play in any kind of points per carry league, you're getting all kinds of points because they're
Yeah.
touching the ball like 15 times a game. They're not doing anything with it, but at least they're getting volume.
Cool. So then here's another one. Same date, 10-8. So today, Chase Brown for Tank Dell in a second. So that's basically Brown for a second, right?
Yeah,
I'll buy for a second.
yikes. I would
Um,
too, and I think
so
if there's some like any kind of panic, that's a tough one too because like any kind of contender probably wants the depth. So like if
yeah,
he's on a contender, you're probably not getting that for a two. If he's on a rebuild, like
I
I
just
don't know
hold
why
if
you
I'm
would.
only
I
gonna
don't
get
know
a
why you would
yeah.
sell for it too. So that might be a hard one to get done, but it's worth throwing an offer out there unless you just don't believe in Chase Brown. You just think the dude sucks, and you know,
Hey, which is possible.
yeah. I mean, you never know. All right, I think it's probably enough on Flacco and the Bengals Browns situation. Alrighty. It seems that here we are, another week, another couple players on IR. Man, O'Marion Hampton. I think and Brenton Strange. Strange was a quad injury. Hampton, I'm blanking on what happened to him. I just know he
I think
left.
a high ankle sprain.
That sounds right. Okay, but anyways, they're both on IR. They're gonna miss at least 4 games. The Chargers, dude, they lose their offensive line. They're dropping like flies. Now you got O'Marion Hampton down. It's Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins are the 2 running backs out in LA. I mean, is Herbert just gonna throw for like 50 times a game and just start slinging it left and right? Like, my
Could
God,
be.
what are they gonna do?
I mean, both Vidal and Haskins played a bit. I think Vidal
They
is the
did.
better pass catcher.
Yeah,
You can make an argument either way, but I think that he is. But yeah, I think they're going to put the ball in Herbert's hands, and he might even just run the ball a lot too. I
he
know he
might
had
be their leading rusher. Yeah,
one really big run last week, but overall he was like their once Hampton went down, he was their best rusher. So that could be possible.
yeah,
And so like I don't really want to. I did go out and get a few Vidal or Haskins on the waiver wire.
sure.
I don't really think I'm going to play them. Like because I think it's
Oof.
all going to be on Herbert, and they're gonna have to throw a lot because I think their offense clearly last week didn't look very good. So I think
Can't block. Can't get any
yeah.
push on the line. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be rough, and so I worry for the Chargers offense overall.
I do too. I think Vidal's the one I probably would like just in general. I think he's going to
Yes.
get the better touches, kind of some of the dump offs. I think I just think I don't think it's just like, saying too much, but I think he's more shifty than Hassan Haskins. Haskins is fine. He's just kind of a plotter, right? Like
Yeah.
he's just kind of a bigger back and he's going to be a short yardage guy. So he might fall into the end zone, but Vidal had some hype. What was it, 2 years ago? Maybe last year.
Yes. I think it was a little bit of last year because Dobbins was there. I think what happened was Vidal was playing really well in the preseason, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, I think he's going
Yeah.
to be it." And so
Yeah.
uh, I don't think he's it.
I don't think he is either. I was just looking at the split after Hampton went down. Haskins had 5 carries, Vidal had 4. So, like, yeah, it might just be an even split, and we'll
Totally.
see what
Yeah,
happens.
I don't really think, I think it will depend on the drive. Like I don't feel good about either of them, like I said.
No.
And I think a lot of it's going to be on Herbert, but I personally don't think that offense, we'll see obviously, but I don't think that offense is going to flow very well.
Brenton
Clearly.
Strange, yeah, well, they didn't do very
It was
well
pretty
against
rough last
Washington.
week. Yep.
Strange was playing pretty well,
I know.
surprisingly. Yeah, he was kind of the only tight end really in Jacksonville too that was getting any kind of work, and so now that he's on IR, that sucks. I know maybe BTJ finally gets involved, now that Brenton Strange is on IR. Maybe we'll,
He had a
throw
great
to BTJ. Uh,
great catch on that last drive, for them
mhm.
to stumble
He
into the
did.
end zone.
It's
But
funny when you
we
throw
need
to your
more of
best
that.
player, what happens, right?
Yeah, we need more of that. And so, I hope that is the case. And I also think they need to get Travis Hunter involved a bit more too. He had a great catch as well.
Yeah,
It's like to me, it feels like they're
he got
not
banged
getting
up too.
the ball in the hands of their good players. I know
No,
ETN's playing well, and obviously Trevor Lawrence is very very up and down. Threw some pretty bad interceptions. I know one of the interceptions should have been PI, but to me, you can't throw that ball there. But I'm not a quarterback, but still, So again,
yeah,
I think Brian Thomas Jr. should be the most beneficiary out of Strange being gone, but we don't
should
know.
be. Yeah, he should be, but it could be, like Wes said in the chat, it's Diami
Yeah.
Brown season. Could be Parker Washington. Hell, it could be Hunter Long. It could finally be Hunter Long season. I know there was some hope a while back with Hunter Long. Maybe he's finally the guy that's going to get some work there. Um, I I don't think these injuries really move the needle on any of them, like from their dynasty value perspective, because I think they're both should be fairly short term, like they're not long term injuries. So like I don't think Strange had much value to begin with, but like Hampton, I wouldn't move him down. I wouldn't
Yeah.
sell him at a discount.
I mean,
Like,
he was, doing really well. He was starting to, take over that
yeah, he was
backfield.
running well.
He
Yeah.
looked he looked really good the first quarter. So I would not move him down. I agree there.
Yeah, I don't think they're worth anything there, but San Francisco seems like they come up almost every show when we talk about injuries. It sounds
Yep.
like Ricky Pearsall's already not expected to play this week. Brock Purdy and Jawan Jennings didn't practice today. I know it's Wednesday. It doesn't sound promising for Purdy. I think there might be a little more optimism on Jennings. We might be looking at the Bourne supremacy back again. Kendrick Bourne, who just went just
Wild.
rabid this last week, dude. He's just catching everything. I don't know what happened. He put on the helmet. He turned into Jerry Rice out there. It was wild. Kendrick Bourne was fantastic. We'll see if the magic continues. Uh, are you worried about Brock Purdy at all? Because like Mac Jones is playing well. It doesn't seem like there any kind of a rush to bring him back. I know I have a few teams where I'm like, dude, I really need Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
I
there
have a
on
team where I'm like,
yeah?
I think I'm 8-0 or 10-0 now, and
Oh wow,
I have Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, and Bryce Young. It's like crap, So like,
I gotta play Bryce
obviously,
Young.
my team's good enough that it's not hurting that much. But yeah, I really want Brock Purdy back. But I'm with you. I don't think they're gonna rush him back. I think they
Mm,
like not necessarily accidentally, but they brought him back and they're like, okay, he's probably not playing that well or isn't feeling that well or healthy enough. So I don't necessarily think it was a re-injury, more of just like, okay, I don't think he's healthy enough to be playing. And yeah, Mac Jones is doing fine. He looked very, very good in the first quarter of Thursday night of last week against the Rams. And so he was, he's been serviceable, and obviously they beat the Rams and they're 4-1 now. And so I think they're going to be like, they'll be fine and wait until, Purdy is healthy. Especially because they can just dump the ball off to CMC and they'll be fine.
yeah, exactly, dude. Sorry, not. I was looking up Kyler's injury, but CMC is fantastic, right? It's hard to go
Yeah.
wrong if you just dump the ball off to him. And dude, Jake Tongas is playing well too. out of the tight end position, dude. It's just like, first of all, it's ridiculous that they're playing as well as they are with a group of practice squad
Yeah.
dudes. No offense to these guys, but like, good for them. Good for the coaching staff for getting those guys ready to go. But like, none of these guys should really be playing,
Oh yeah. Agreed.
realistically. But uh, so Kyler Murray, I was looking up. So he's day to day right now. He has a foot injury. Um, are you worried about Kyler long term? I know he hasn't really been playing that well. Arizona, I think the drop off between Kyler and the I don't even know who his
Well,
backup is,
that's what
but
I was
like
just looking up
it's
right now. It's like I don't think they like. So obviously, Mac Jones isn't like all world quarterback, right? But he is doing a good job, right? But I don't even know.
it's Jacoby Brissett. So
Oh, okay.
that's
Well,
not
joke's on us.
awesome.
I think maybe that. I mean, obviously he's not awesome, but I think he can be serviceable as well. We'll need to see it. He is not trending to play. I think it's day to day, and I don't think he's practiced. So
Yeah. It feels
uh,
like a real like 50-50 at the moment.
yeah, and so he hasn't been the guy that's like put them in the spot to win games, right? So I think obviously a couple of issues last week and the Cardinals lost. But I think Jacoby Brissett can be good enough and they probably won't rush him back.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The one nice thing is Brissett's actually tall enough to see over the line. So
Yeah. Maybe
maybe
good
for Marvin.
for Marv. Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr. might actually get some work there. I don't think there's anything to like any like dynasty moves to make out of those. It's just something to keep an eye
Yeah.
on, right? With the injuries, I will say it's just getting uglier and uglier trying to fulfill a starting lineup with
Wild.
some of these all these injuries that keep happening, dude.
I mean, this is
Yeah,
a good point, Wes. Like that's kind of what I said. Kind of jokes on us because we didn't know who their backup was, and then it's Jacoby Brissett. It's like okay, well, probably not that much worse than Kyler Murray.
honestly, it's probably not right. Just no
So
rushing, but
obviously we need to see it, but I can make an argument that it's really not gonna go that much worse. Like
yeah.
so obviously we don't know. We haven't seen Jacoby Brissett in a while. He was fine when he played in New England. Um,
So
and so I don't know. We'll see.
one thing to point out: Arizona plays at Indianapolis this week. If it could be a Jake Brisket revenge game against
That's
the
right.
Colts, baby. Let's go.
All right.
So something to keep in mind there. If he gets
Yeah.
the nod,
uh, you know, before we move into these trades, like I did talk about it a little bit, but I moved ETN and Trevor Lawrence. Like, yeah, those two guys are not moved. I bought. I'm sorry. But with all these injuries, like if you can buy players like that for a first, and I know I may regret moving Colston Loveland, but I had Laporta, I have uh Dalton Kincaid. So like I have tight end depth there. So like I felt like it was fine to move Lil Loveland, but like I don't love buying ETN and Trevor Lawrence, but they're both healthy. They're both playing fine. Like at this point of the season, like just get yourself some guys that are playing and healthy and are going to help you in a better position.
can't score points if you're not on the field.
Yep.
So, get the guys on the field and that are actually playing. I saw a report. Something to keep in mind. Some of these rookies, like I guess, kind of maybe this is a side tangent, but some of the rookies like post bye weeks sometimes get more involved. So like Colston
Yeah.
Loveland and like Luther Burden. I'm interested to see if they kind of get more involved in the game plan moving forward after the bye week. Sometimes we've seen these rookies will start to kind of start picking up the pieces there, but and then sometimes too they don't, right? And it's just not it's not in the cards for them. So
Yeah.
interesting to see, something to keep an eye on there
I
too.
mean, I still think for I blanking isn't wide receiver, Bears,
Luther Burden.
yes, thank you. Holy crap. I still think, until DJ Moore, is traded or not on the team anymore, I still think he's
Yeah,
kind of going to be in the way. But I think, Colson Loveland should get more involved. I'm assuming they'll get, Burden involved as well. But
yeah, he'll probably get some scheme touches here moving forward, but we'll see. I don't expect a ton, or at least not year one, right? So
yeah,
alrighty. I wanted to look at some potential dynasty buys that we could do here. I have 3 running backs that I really like. So these 3 have all have one thing in common. They are all in the top 5 of the NFL's next gen stats, rushing yards over expectations. Ja'Cory Crossy-Mara is actually PFF's highest graded rusher too. Dude's been killing it. I know I kind of dumped on him a little bit in
I
the
did too.
offseason. I didn't really believe in the preseason high. I thought it was just another one of those like preseason, puff pieces, whatever. But he's
Broke
playing
out
really
last
well,
week.
man. He started to take over that backfield last week, right? He got 14 attempts. He got the lion's share there. He went over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have a fumble, which was
He did.
awesome. But I mean, he was just good. Like he was just a solid, and it wasn't like there's some of those players that have like the 100-yard game, and it's like, well, they had one like 80-yard run, and it kind of skewed the total. Like he didn't really have that. He had some nice runs, but like he just was good, man. Like he had 5 of his 14 runs went over 10 yards. Like he was just chewing up. Well, you saw him in person. I forgot.
Yeah.
You should be telling me. How did he look in person? Yeah.
Yeah. So he looked like the best running back on the field. Even Hampton was there for the first quarter, but he was, hitting the hole really well. His 2 touchdown runs were really, really good. Kind of the same thing both times. So I think they were, around over 10 yards both on the touchdown runs. He could catch the ball out of the backfield, so he looked like he was the main guy. And so I'm there. The guy behind him is Chris Rodriguez, right? Like I don't see any other way that he's not going to be the main guy there. And unfortunately, like yes, he is a buy right now, but you're probably going to have to pay up. But but it's okay to do that, in my opinion, because we've talked about it before. The 26 class it is what it is, right? They don't have a ton of top end, but we know who he is. We know he's on the team that likes him a lot, and he doesn't really have anybody else behind him that's going to take away those touches, right? And so if you're looking to bolster your roster and make a run for the playoffs and you have injuries, like send a player in a second, right? You may have to even send a first at this rate. I think so too. So yeah, Wes, exactly. Paying up is probably going to have to send a first. And, I think if you are feeling really good with your team and you feel confident that's a playoff first, then yeah, I think you're all right sending a first for him.
I like the comment. Apparently, for coaches like you, fumbles don't matter. That's yeah, dude. Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know what kind of blackmail he has on Mike Vrabel, but it's ridiculous. The dude can just get away with about anything out there.
Yeah.
But back to Bill. I think. Would you send a late first for Bill?
I wouldn't.
I feel like I'm getting to a point where I would.
So I don't think I would, but I think it's tough because I don't think anyone's moving him after last weekend for lower than a first. Yeah. Right. And so, but I also am like, is he just going to be like a 1-year wonder? And then now I moved my first. I don't know. But like I was kind of saying is like, there's a lot of injuries right now. And if you feel really comfortable with your team, if you think, 4-1, whatever, and you are just trying to bolster that roster, I think sending a first really is not bad.
I'll say this. You send a first for him. Is it, and even if he is only a 1-year wonder, if he's great and he helps you win a championship, is it worth it sending that first if he helps you win, right? Especially considering we've talked about how next year's class, like I think we're going to talk about it in a little bit here, but like I think realistically you need to be at the very front of next year's class. Otherwise it gets bleak real fast. There's still time. It's October. Still plenty of time for that to change. I just think that's my kind of rationale. Talk myself into it. We've also been talking, okay, like Marion Hampton's hurt. Malik Neighbors went down, right? Like Bucky Irving missed time this last week. It sounds like he's going to play, maybe he's not. Yeah, right. Like all these injuries are just stacking up. Bill's on the field. He's putting up good numbers. Like if you send a first, like you want to win. If he's healthy and he helps you win, like yeah, you might have to swallow, and like just take your medicine and just if he helps you win, he helps you win, man. Like I don't feel great about it. Part of me has Michael Carter in the back of my mind where it was like, he looked awesome that first year for the Jets, and then all of a sudden he just was never heard from again. Now, granted, he's relevant again right now, but that's a different story. That's the concern I have, right? Is like,
Yeah.
what does 2026 look like for Krusky Merritt? Like, I don't know,
So,
but
I
I can talk myself into a first for him right now.
yeah, I pulled up some trades here. So Bill and Ramondre Stevenson for RJ Harvey. I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Bill for Darren Waller in the first. I'm fine with that. A little bit more than I would want to send, but I'm fine with that. Bill for Chris Godwin in a second. I like that as well. I think that one, is you probably don't have to send your first, but if you can add a player to a second, do that every day.
That's
But
probably
I
the way
don't
to
know if
do
that
it.
gets done, right? I don't know if that gets done, especially after a really, really good week. Whatever, right?
Probably
So
something better than Godwin, I would
yeah,
assume, right?
this one's wild to me, but I get where they're coming from. Bill for Derrick Henry and a 26 first, which that's too much, but Derrick Henry's down. But if you're gonna do that, just I don't know, try to do just the first. I don't know. To me, that seems like a overpay, and like the phone, the person broke their phone just smashing that one.
That's like, I know Henry's been bad, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, getting a hint though, it's like a free Derrick Henry. It feels like that
Yeah,
feels great.
exactly. And so this is another good point. Like I
Maybe.
don't know. I don't know if Eckler will play again, and I don't know if he'll play for Washington, right? So if he doesn't, great, right? They may get somebody in the draft, but really there's only a couple running backs that I think could,
We
start over Bill right away. But I think that's hard to do. We've seen it with RJ Harvey getting picked up in the second. I know J.K. Dobbins is playing really well, but like he was drafted in the second round. RJ Harvey really has not done a bunch yet, right? So the same kind of thing could happen. The Commanders pick on, in the second round, the 20 through 30, whatever, and they take a running back in the second. Ooh, people are like super, super hyped about him, whatever. But no, I think Bill's still going to be the main guy. It seems like the coaching staff really likes him. He's playing super well. So without an injury, like I'm okay with moving at first.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think, like you said, there's even if they do draft a running back, like a day two running back, there's no guarantee they're going to get on the field and do anything. Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think if anything,
Yep.
they're going to draft someone complimentary to him, and like Wes said in the chat, probably like a day three scat back, right? Like
Yeah.
to complement the skill set rather than ultimately replacing him. This franchise hasn't really prioritized drafting running backs. They've always
Yep.
kind of found those. Like I think back to like Alfred Morris back in the day. He was like a 6th-round guy. They've kind of just found these like kind of late day three gems, and Bill might be the next one.
Yeah. I had a couple more guys here, a little bit lower down. Two tight ends, Mason Taylor and Theo Johnson. Mason Taylor is just getting the volume right now. And then Theo Johnson seems to be the main guy in the red zone,
Nice.
right? So both those guys, Mason Taylor, you probably have to move as for a second or player in that range, and then Theo Johnson, you probably can get him for a third. I know that probably would be tough after this last week. But I feel comfortable moving a second for both those guys, or equal player of that value, right? So both those two guys, I think, will continue to be around. I obviously, and same with you, Spanky, like Mason Taylor a lot more than Theo Johnson. But of course, last week he had 2 touchdowns, and to me, I just think he's going to be a red zone threat for Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean, both weeks Jackson Dart started. Theo Johnson's caught touchdowns from him, so he seems to love them. I mean, Malik Neighbors isn't there, right? Like Wandale is what he is. I'm blanking on Darius Slayton's hurt.
Yeah.
He's not playing this week, right? So Theo Johnson's probably going to have another good game this week. I don't think a 2 gets Mason Taylor.
Yeah, probably not.
Just reading that too, because he was being drafted there. And if you play in the league with me, I have Mason Taylor, and you're not. You can pry him for my cold dead hands for a 2, right?
I mean,
I get where you're coming from though, but like,
yeah, I don't know if this would get done, but like, so a guy that I threw on here for the sells is TJ Hawkinson. He's been straight garbage. Like I just saw Mason Taylor for TJ Hawkinson. I saw Theo Johnson for Mason Taylor. That's so funny. which to me is wild because I'd take Mason Taylor all day. So I think why is he not?
Tell you what, I would take Mason Taylor over TJ Hawkinson right now.
Yeah, I would too. That's why I kind of meant it that way. I don't know if I said it was kind of crazy, but I think that's kind of what I meant is like I as well
Yeah.
would much rather have Mason Taylor than TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I would also probably do because I think Kyle Pitts is ahead of him right now because he's played so well. I would take Taylor over Kyle Pitts too.
Yep.
Which maybe that
Agreed.
might be a
Like
little
Justin Fields loves
crazy,
Mason
but
Taylor and he's loved the tight end. So,
Mhm.
those are
And
two
he's
tight ends.
I mean, Mason Taylor's drafted in the second round. Like he was, I know Tyler Warren and Colson Lovin got all the hype in the offseason, but like Mason Taylor was the next tight end drafted. He wasn't drafted that far behind those other two. Um, he's a good player. His dad's a Hall of Famer, right? Like he didn't get used much at LSU, but he's getting used here in New York. And I know I talked about it in the offseason too when they drafted him, but like Aaron Glenn just came from Detroit where they drafted Sam Laporta. They used him right away. Mason Taylor has the same kind of vibes, right? Like I'm not saying he will be Laporta, but I think he's just going to get more and more used. Like these last 2 weeks, he's had 25% or higher target share. He's getting used a ton. Justin Fields is throwing to him more, trusting him more. They're having to throw a lot because they suck and they can't run the ball. So
Yeah.
I think Mason Taylor's just on the start of his little rocket ship journey up the tight end landscape here.
Yep. Agreed.
I wanted to get like pulse check on Quinshon Judkins with you real quick. I put him on as like a potential buy. I think, dude, I keep moving as like every week. So shout out, plug the Patreon. You get access to my tiers. Every week I move him up. I just keep bumping him up. He's getting a ton of volume. He's doing great. The line can't block for anything in front of him, but he's still doing awesome. Where do you have Quinshon Judkins right now? Like maybe would help if would you do Judkins or Josh Jacobs right now?
Ooh, Judkins. That one's
Judkins
close,
or your boy
but I'll
Kyron
see.
Williams?
Oh, that one's rough for me. I'll take Judkins, and the reason is Kyron has so many fumbles, right? So one more, and I think they'll move on, right? I
One
know
more,
they
he's
just
gonna
signed
get a
him.
solid slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Just
So
kidding.
I mean, the issue is I don't want to get too much into the Rams, but the issue is like Corum also fumbled. I think they need to give the ball to Hunter a little bit, Jarquez Hunter, to see what he can do. But you just cannot have your running back continue to fumble. So I won't get
the,
on my soapbox, but
the
you
fumble on
can't
the
have.
goal line was really what did it.
Yeah,
It was poor
and
timing, and
and I
he did
know it
one
was
Notre
a
Dame too, and it pissed me off. Like
and I know it was a punch out, but like the ball security was not
he
good.
got smacked in the head too.
Yeah,
That was unfortunate.
but just what you got to know where you are on the
You're
field.
at
You
the
got to know the time. They were there. The worst
you're at
case
the goal
scenario, they
line.
just
You
kick it.
gotta hold on to the ball.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, I'd take Judkins.
Judkins or James Cook.
Whew. You're throwing in some heat. Give me Judkins.
Judkins or Bucky Irving.
I'll stay Bucky.
Okay. So there's the line. See, and
But
that's
probably
where I
like
struggle
he's
with,
like
right? Like
right on the tier, the like top 10. So anywhere between 8 to 10, 8 to 11 right now. And he's climbing his way up.
that's okay. That's where I had him too. I was curious. Okay. Anyone else before you get into
Yeah.
some cells?
So KTC, he's at running back 10, early first territory.
Yeah,
I think that's what you would need to send to get him.
I think so too. I'm
And I don't
curious if
think people would move him. Like
yeah, I don't
rookie,
know.
playing
Like
really
I'm
well.
curious. Like this time, before the rookie draft, like Jeremiah Love's like the one that's like if would people rather just take the rookie running back next year, or would you rather have Quinshon Judkins? And would that deal even get done? I feel
Yeah.
like they're going to be pretty similar value, and it might be a real thing that like a real trade that people do is like the 101 for Judkins.
Yeah.
But we'll see. All right. Some sells. One of the names here is probably going to surprise people. Darren Wall. No, I'm just kidding. Rashee Rice. That's probably the one that probably caught people's attention. The picture of Rashee Rice here. So the caveat on this one is this is for your rebuilders, right? If you have him on a contending team, don't I'm not telling you to sell him. I think his market value is fine. I think it's whatever. So the rationale I had for this one was Rashee Rice. He's missed. This is his last week. He's missing. He'll be back next week against the Raiders. There's a chance that he's coming back from a pretty major injury. The last kind of image we have in our heads was he went on an absolute tear the first 3 weeks of the season last year. They've gotten other players. Xavier Worthy's been more involved in the offense. The offense is different than it was when at the start of last season. Is Rashee Rice going to just automatically get all that volume? Is he going to take some time to work back? Like, point being, if you're in a rebuilder, he scored you 0 points right now, right? And so the 26 class, we've talked about how it isn't looking that great, and I want to get as close to the front as I can, right? I want the 101, 2, or 3 probably. My thought there is to try to ship off Rashee Rice for the 26 first and something else that's not going to score me points.
Yep.
That was my whole rationale there. It's not that I think Rashee Rice is a great player, right? I like him as a player a lot. I think he's I think there's a potential that he starts off kind of slow, working back into the offense, coming back from injury. And I think this might be the right time to sell him if you're on a rebuilding team.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, his value hasn't changed at all, right? The second he steps on the field and the Chiefs continue to have a rough offensive, offensive scheme or whatever, I think his value will go down a little bit, right? He starts out slow, whatever the may case be. So for now, I think, if you can get that first and get those points off your team, get it done. And then I think we can make an argument for sell him on the, any down team and maybe try to go out and buy him on any contending team.
Yeah, I would buy him on a contending team. That's the thing. Like, I think this is a potential, like, a deal could get done because the rebuilders don't want the points. Contenders are like, oh, great, it's an extra wide receiver that can really help me. I think this is a guy that it makes sense, right? Like, and the chances are, if you had him, you probably aren't doing it that good because he hasn't scored you any points for the first 6 weeks. Like, I don't know. I think it makes sense. I think it's worth exploring.
Absolutely.
Any of your bad teams. The other one I want to talk about, just real quick, Darren Waller. The cost of acquisition over the offseason was like fab. His first 2 weeks have gone about as like fever dream as you could have possibly hoped for, right? 3 touchdowns in his first 2 games, right? Like, I think the issue with Darren Waller, so one, he's been hurt a ton. Now, I know you can't predict injury, but like more often than not, the dude gets banged up. The other thing is that, like, Mike McDaniel, as long as he's there, the offense gets schemed towards the tight ends for whatever reason. I don't know how long he's going to make it. And who's to say the interim coach doesn't come in and say, hey, why are we scheming touches to a tight end when we have Jalen Waddle? I feel like there's a very real possibility this goes downhill fast for Waller. And if I can get like 2/3, and whether you pick with those or you just use them as other trades, like, you basically turn Fab into 2 picks. That's how I'm looking at it.
Instant upgrade right there. Let me see if I can pull up anything for Darren Waller for a second, a third. Darren Waller for a second and a third. Darren Waller and Hunter Henry for Brenton Strange. Zach Charbonnet for Darren Waller and a fourth. Darren Waller for a second, Jalen Waddle for Darren Waller and T. Higgins. So yeah, I mean, get yourself a second.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then you turned your Fab from the offseason into a second round pick. Like,
yeah, and I mean, and if you can get yourself an injured Brenton Strange, smash. So like definitely he is the definition of like dynasty sell, right? I don't think he's around for dynasty. If you got him on the waiver wire for any of your redraft, you're feeling great. Like, he probably should be started until he gets injured or there's a head coaching change. But in terms of dynasty, I know it doesn't
be around next year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right to just instantly flip him, but to me, like, those are the type of things that you want to try to capitalize on, right? Is, okay, I can get myself a third. I can get myself an injured Brenton Strange, whatever the case may be. You are now turning, like you said, that Fab into an instant upgrade. I did have one other tight end that you should look into selling. I don't know how much you'd get for him, but TJ Hawkinson. It has
Hawk
been
Daddy.
all bad this year. I think he's had one touchdown, and that was his one good week. And he's just not getting in the targets, not getting the looks. I think he's averaging like 20 yards a game. So really, it's not good, and I just don't know how much better it will get, even with JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, really, the opportunity was there when Addison was out. Now that Addison's back, right? He's at best third, but like, dude, Jalen Naylor was getting more targets and getting more looks than
Yep.
Hawkinson was. Like, I'm not sure I don't know if it's like a health thing. I don't know, just it's like a scheme thing, but like Hawkinson just hasn't been the same since he got hurt. It's like all last year, and I kind of chalked it up to, he was just coming back from injury, but he still doesn't look right. Like
Yep.
he's been fine. He's not like good. I think he's on the decline, is what it seems like, and that's where we talk about it with Mason Taylor. It's like if I could get a 1-for-1 right now, I don't even know if that gets done anymore,
Smash.
but like
Yeah, I
I
don't think
would
it does.
I would love to. Honestly,
I
I would
mean,
probably do it for Harold Fannin too. Like
yep.
one of these like younger tight ends. Like if I could get off of Hawkinson to that was close to some phrasing there. If I can move away from TJ Hawkinson to one of these younger tight ends, I would do that.
Looks like he's trading at like a second value. Although I did see TJ Hawkinson for AJ Browner, which is wild.
Yikes.
But yeah,
That's a
so
little
there
too
you go.
far.
He's down bad. If you can get a second, sweet. If you can get Mason Taylor, even better. Like, I could, possibly talk myself into Theo Johnson and a third.
Sure.
It's in like he's not scoring any points. And it doesn't look like it's going to get better.
Yeah, it doesn't look promising at the moment. Hopefully he still has some name value that you can get there. But
I threw two wide receivers as well on here. DJ Metcalf. Honestly, he's being propped up by the touchdowns right now. This one hurts my heart a little bit because I love DJ Metcalf, and
who doesn't
so
love a
like
good DK reference?
yeah. So
DK's,
I just don't think I think he does have a great game this week, coming off the bye, but I just don't like what's going on in Pittsburgh. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's just very unpredictable.
Yeah, he hasn't been. He's been fine. They're not using him to the best of his like skill set, I think,
Yep.
which is strange. I also don't know what that's going to look like next year when Rodgers is gone. Right? I don't know who's going to be throwing on the ball. We've seen him play with bad quarterbacks before, and I don't trust. I mean, a lot of it's Arthur Smith, right? He ruins a lot of good things too. So
yeah. And for me, I think he's at a point where his value is still pretty good. You can probably get something solid, back for him, right? He's not, he's not like dead. It's like TJ Hawkinson is, right? So for me, I still think he's someone that you could get a nice return. And so again, so you guys are asking what to buy Hawk for. I don't know, maybe a third. Let's see. I just had him up.
He's not that dead.
I mean,
he's not.
I guess I'd still send a second for him. But I'm usually like, if I'm gonna send a second, I want to buy a little bit lower. So I don't know. Maybe that's a little crazy, but
I think 2 seconds. I think might be more in the ballpark. But personally, if I'm moving off of Hawkinson and somebody like asking for stranded, yeah. So realistically, he's gonna be the one that buys them. I want I want a tear down at a tight end, and I want a second coming back. Is how I would look at it, right? I could tear down to maybe even like an Elijah Arroyo. I think he's looking at Terrence Ferguson, like one of those guys who are kind of like, maybe I can buy into them becoming something. It's hard. Tight ends are kind of hard because I feel like once you get past a certain, like probably like the top like 5 or 6, it just gets to a point where they're all basically the same.
Yeah.
So like maybe Jatavian Sanders, if he kind of does something.
Yeah, it's just like injury. I think he should be back this week.
Yeah, he's been hurting. Maybe Gadsden does something finally.
Didn't do anything last week.
Theo Johnson in a 2, maybe. It's hard. Or maybe you just punt the tight ends to begin with, and you just try to get a deal with like a second and I don't want to say Keon Coleman, but maybe somewhere in that range of wide
Yeah,
receiver.
that seems about right.
Maybe that's gross. I don't know, but yeah,
It is gross, but that's where I think Hawkins is at.
yeah, he's been bad. And I don't have a high level of confidence going to get any better.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Start sits. I think Chase Brown has a bounce back game. DK Metcalf, I don't think he's going to be on a so they get Cleveland this week, and Cleveland has a very good defense. I think there's a possibility they lock him down. I don't like Metcalf this week. I would bench him for if you can. We were talking about this before the show, but it's like looking at the starting sets, dude. Like looking at the projections, it's like it's getting kind of gross with how many injuries there are. Plus, we got Houston and Minnesota on bye, so like
Yeah.
you might just have to start if they're active.
Start whoever
You know
has
what
a
I mean?
pulse. But no, I mean,
Basically.
there's a couple of guys I like here. Rico Dottle, because I think
I like Uncle
Chuba
Rico.
doesn't start again. Michael Carter, I think, is going to have another good game just off the sheer volume.
Yeah.
For quarterbacks, I mean, I don't love to say this, but Bryce Young does get Dallas, so that could be a nice one.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart's been good, but he does get Philly, and it's also Thursday night, so that's a guy that I think I would sit.
Tell you
And
what.
then wide receivers. I think Stephon Diggs had a really good game last week. I think that could continue. They get New Orleans. So Stephon Diggs could be my start of the week there. And then tight end, super, super ugly. But I'm going with Jake Tongas.
I like Tongas, dude. He's been playing super well. If you want to talk about a gross quarterback you can start this week that maybe has a shot at putting up some points, it's Cam Ward. The Vegas defense is butt cheeks. And I don't know if Tennessee's much better, but like, man, sometimes those games where like two bad teams get wild, and like there's a shot that this game could just get a little crazy, right? And they can just start slinging the ball around, and who knows what might happen. Brock Wright at tight end, dude just all he does is score touchdowns. All he does is score touchdowns, man.
Makes me think of so I just started a new dynasty in NCAA football with Texas Tech, and Micah Hudson has 4 catches on the season through 3 games with 4 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We got to be close to Brock Wright's starting.
Yeah.
His stat line. It's got to be about like 70% of his catches are touchdowns. But
Yeah.
I mean, they scheme touches for him in the end zone. If he doesn't catch a touchdown, though, you are looking at about 2 points.
Yep.
But
no, we're getting rough with all the injuries. So just look for the guys that are getting opportunities, right? So even Vidal might be an okay start if you're really struggling and you really don't like. You need a flex.
Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver.
Although he's been rough the last. I had to start him last week and it wasn't good. But I think someone like
they play Carolina.
Vidal, I think we'll get some of the pass catching work. So any type of PPR, he will also, run the ball a bit as well. And then I like Brashard Smith. He's starting to get involved a bit more. These are guys that we didn't think were gonna, hype up to play. And here we are.
Bro, I tell you who has a disappointing amount of vision problems is Bashal Tootin out in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There was a run they had, like they threw a little like screen pass to him, and he ran like right into his blocker, and there was like no one around them, and he ran straight into his blocker and the defender, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like you could have got an extra like 15 yards if you just picked either side of that blocker.
I thought it was going to be good, man. He still might be, but it's
tell you what,
not looking good.
You know who's been playing fairly well lately too is Kendra Miller. He's getting more and more work, and he's looked. And Ron's not here to crap on him, but he's gotten better. So we'll see.
I was looking at one of my
lineups too.
I was looking at one of my really bad teams, and he was a guy that I was like, oh, I probably need to start him.
Yeah, buddy. It gets gross, but it is what it is.
See, I'm
Um,
humble. I've got plenty of, I've got some really good undefeated teams, and I'm also have some defeated teams. So I'm
yeah, I
humble.
got
I'm
some.
humble.
I got a good share of bad ones. All right, last week with my prop bets, I went 2 for 1. The one that missed was James Cook anytime touchdown. The Bills, whatever. It happens, but I got 3 good ones this week. I think these are gonna be the ones that hit. I actually played this earlier today. Stephon Diggs over 56.5 receiving yards. We talked about him a minute ago. You just said you liked him as a starter. I think he's getting a ton of work. New Orleans
He
isn't
will
a very
be
good
hit.
pass defense.
He will be in my over unders for sure.
Let's go. Saquon anytime, Tutty. He's playing against his former team. I think that one's fairly safe. The Justin Fields under 196.5 passing yards doesn't sound like a lot, but they're playing the Broncos. They're playing over in London. He's not a great passer. I think in particular, he's just been taken off to run more so than like trying to like force throws. I don't I don't see a world where he gets over 200 right now.
Yeah.
Just the way he's playing, I just don't see it. So those are the over unders that I'm going to take. And then I think Waller's a fine DFS play. Drake May's been fantastic. We haven't really talked about him a lot on the show, but he's been so freaking good.
Yep.
Kyron, I think he scores. And QJ, I think he's going to bounce back. He had kind of a rougher week last week, but I think he's in for
He did. He had a fumble, big fumble. The reason I say big, it was just I think a big game changer there. With they were driving, just not good. I love it though. Yeah, Waller's a nice with the cost at 4,000. Kyron I've had almost in my lineup in DFS almost every week. Just his value is good, and the dude just scores and also fumbles. And then QJ's been really good for DraftKings as well. So maybe do a little bit of Drake May, Stephon Diggs stack.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. Yeah, no, I love it. Anything else before we get out of here?
That's it. I encourage you all to get into some over unders. You only need to put like $10 down. I'm up a bit of money, so it's been nice. Hit a couple.
You've had some nice hits. Yeah.
So get into it. It's very fun. There's a lot of information out there for you to not just like, pick random shit and throw it against the wall. But we're starting to bring a couple to the show every week, and it's a lot of fun.
Come join our Discord. We'll chat about some player props too.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. With that, you got a good weekend of football. I think today's the first day of like 49 straight days of either college football or NFL games on TV. So
yep, we are degenerates, and we both put in some prop bets for some Wednesday night college football action.
You know what you do, what you got to do to get through the day to feel alive.
Yes, sir.
That said, thanks for staying with us, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.